Okay, let's look at this question also. We have our table here: limes, apples, good and then bad. So we have 10 limes being good, 6 being bad, apples 8 being good, 6 being bad. The table shows the number of limes and apples of the same size in a bag if 2 of the fruits are picked at random, one after the other or one at a time without replacement. Find the probability that both are good, both are bad, both are good lime, both are bad apples. One is good apple and the other is bad lime. First is good apple and the second is bad apple. Alright, so the apple is of the same size and in a bag. So when we have to find the total number of what fruits, okay, in the bag. There are 2 fruits, the limes and the apples. So we have to get the total because they are in the same what? They are in the same bag. Okay, so of the same size in a bag. So we have to know the total number of fruits. The fruits here we are talking about, we have 2 fruits, limes and apples. Okay, so we add everything. That is 10 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6. Okay, 10 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6, and 10 plus 8 is what? 18. Plus 6 will give us 24, and plus another 6 will give us 30. Okay, it means that the total number of fruits in the bag comprising of limes and apples are 30. Okay, and they say what? 2. If 2 have 2 fruits, 2 of the fruits, so we pick 2. Okay, without replacement. So take note of this: the number that is being picked from the bag, and if it is with or without replacement. So this is without replacement. We are picking 2. So find the probability that both are good limes. So A, probability of both are good limes. Okay, if both are good, then since we are picking 2, it means that the first is good and the second is good. So how many good limes from the table? So the table we have 10 good limes. Okay, so 10. The total number of fruits 30. Okay, and then times, it is without replacement. So if the first is a good lime, then that will be 10 out of 30. And if the second is also a good lime, then that will be 9 out of what? 29, because it is without replacement. Okay, so the first good lime is picked and put aside. So the number of good lime reduced by 1 to 9, and the total number of fruits in the bag reduced to 29. So 10 over 30 multiplied by 9 on 29. Alright, I think that makes sense. So we have our answer as 3 on 29. So the probability of both being good lime is 3 over 29. Okay, the second one. So simple. Probability of bad apples. Both are bad apples. So both are bad what? Bad apples. If both are bad apples, then you check the apples. How many bad apples? We have 6. Okay, so that means the first will be bad apple, 6 on what? 30. The second will be bad apple, 5 on 29. Okay, so you should take note that if the first bad apple is picked, the probability is 6. So we have 6 bad apples out of 30, the total number of fruits. And since we picked the second one without replacement, then the bad apple reduced by 1. And the total number of apples also reduced by 1. Okay, so that will be 6 over 30 and 5 over what? Times 5 over 29. And that will give us 1 over 29. Okay, so the probability of picking 2 bad apples, okay, it's 1 over 29. All right, then the next question is what? C. One is good apple and the other is bad. So C, He said one is good apple and the other is bad lime. So one is good apple, probability of one good apple and other bad what? Bad lime. So it can happen that when we were picking at random, we pick a good apple first and then bad lime second, or we pick a bad lime first and then a good apple what? A good apple second. So you have to consider that. Okay, so can be that the first good apple and second bad what? Bad lime, or probability of what? The first bad lime, and second good apple. So any of them can be first or second, because the question was not specific. So if it is first good apple, how many good apples? 8 over 30. And second bad lime. So let's check the bad lime. We have what? We have 6 bad lime. So 6 over 29. Because this is without what? Without replacement. So when you pick good apple, and then we have to put it aside. There are 8. But take note that because a good apple is put aside, the total number of fruit has reduced by 1 to 29. However, the number of bad limes still remains the same. That's why we are seeing in our second pick we have 6 over 29. Or first was bad lime. Bad lime 6 out of 30, and then the second was good apple. That will be 8 over 29. All right, 8 over 29. So the same thing or the same happens here. That if the first a bad lime, that will be 6 over 30, and the second is good apple, that the apple will still remain 8, but the total will reduce by 1 since it is without replacement. 8 over 30 times 6 on 29. That will give us 8 over 145 plus, I think this will give us the same thing. For the numerators are 6 times 8, 30 by 29. So that will also give us 8 on 145, the same thing. So 8 over 145 plus 8 on 145. So 8 plus 8 will give us 16. And then that will be 16 over 145. 16 over 145. So 16 out of 145. Alright. The last one. First is good apple and second is bad apple. So the probability of first good apple and second bad apple. Probability of first good apple and second bad apple. So this question is specific. Now what is the probability that when I'm picking, I'll pick first good apple and I'll pick second also bad apple. So good apple is 8, bad apple is 6. So if it is good apple first, then that will be 8 on 30 times bad apple second. So bad apple will be 6 on 29. And take me because that replacement. So the good apple we have 8. So if that one is picked, it will not be brought back. So what will happen is that the bad apples will still remain 6. Okay, but the total will reduce by 1 to 29. We have 8 over 30 times 6 on 29, and that will give us 8 on 145. 8 on 145. All right. So I think this is very, very simple. Okay. So whenever you are given a question, especially the C and the D, take note of them. Okay. One is good apple and other is bad. It's not specific. The D, first is good apple and second is bad. So it's specific. So there will not be all here. But here it's not specific. So you have to consider the other side too. That is why you are seeing all. That is the addition. Alright, so I believe you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you again as we solve more questions on probability. Bye bye.